Good afternoon. This is Media Center Ukraine, Odessa. We are starting our briefing day, and the first is Serhii Bratchuk, spokesman of the head of the Odesa Regional Military Administration, who will tell us about the security and humanitarian situation in the region. Glory to Ukraine. I would like to welcome everyone, those who will join us later. I would like to briefly speak about the security situation as of the 17th of January this year in Odesa region. The situation in Odessa and the region is fully under control. The defense unit are able to take all the measures needed and also continue training and preparing. However, there is a high risk of further Russian air and missile strikes, including in Odessa region, on targets throughout the territory of Ukraine. This is evidenced by the presence of 6 enemy missile carriers in the Black Sea that can have up to 40 caliber missiles on board. I would also like to remind that the Russian attack on the 14th of January damaged significantly the operation of Ukraine's energy system. This led to the fact that the shortage of electricity increased even more all over Ukraine, including in Odessa region. Therefore, Ukrenergo provided the distribution system operators with reduced electricity consumption limits in order to maintain the operation of the energy system, and Odessa Oblast is not an exception. Therefore, emergency shutdowns are applied also here. The situation may continue in the coming days to deal with the consequences of the enemy's missile attack. We have to gain patience, and we need to understand the situation in the state in general and in Odessa Oblast in particular. We provide the power supply to electricity, to critical infrastructure facilities, as well as to provide the water and heat supply. Each healthcare facility that provides inpatient and emergency medical care are equipped with autonomous power sources. In the event of a power outage in medical facilities, the generators start automatically within a few seconds. An adequate supply of fuel has been stockpiled for their operation. Thus, in the event of a power outage, the provision of medical services continues in our region and in the city. The issue of uninterrupted power, water, and heat supply to healthcare facilities is priority and is under constant control of the Department of Healthcare and the head of the Odessa Military Administration. We understand that the enemy will continue striking the energy infrastructure and critical infrastructure facilities. Therefore, in advance, according to the orders of the head of the Odessa Military Administration, Maxim Marchenko, cooperation with our partners and allies in the region continues in order to obtain a sufficient number of generators for the city and for every territorial community of our oblast. Our task is to prepare such a number of points of invincibility that will allow all residents of Odessa to use them immediately in the event of a possible complete blackout. I would also once more to thank all the residents of the region for understanding the situation, and we urge you to use official sources to obtain relevant information. It is possible, and we already observe this, that the enemy's psychological operation units will use and are using the situation on the energy front of the region and the state in order to create relevant fakes. We have been also raising awareness of the population, and I would like to urge you once more to use official information sources. I would also like to remind that the sea and the edge of the water contain many hostile mine surprises. Since the 25th of February of the last year, there has been enforced the order of Odesa Military Administration and Odesa Military Command that prohibits attending the coastline of the sea. And also it is forbidden to go to the sea. Don't expose yourself to danger, as well as don't expose your relatives and close ones to danger. So we have the upcoming holiday on the 19th of January, and we need to remind that Ukrainian religious tradition does not have the format of the sea bathing on the holiday. The sin should be washed out not by the water, but by good deeds. Thank you. That's all on my side. Do we have any questions to Mr. Bratchuk? Good afternoon. My name is Mikhailo Batsurkiv, representing Senate Opinion. I'm speaking English.
Зараз, секунду, я перепрошую. Другий канал, будь ласка, для перекладу. Перший канал для перекладу на українську.
Тут я не бачу. Якщо можливість допомогти, будь ласка.
Зараз, секунду.
Щиро дякую, колеги.
Так, давайте спробуємо ще раз, прошу.
Так, все нормально.
Так, добре. I had two questions. Number one, as you know, Odessa is the center point of the Black Sea Grain Initiative. I'm wondering if you know if any of the power outages or strikes on power infrastructure have hampered the operations of the port or made it more difficult for the port to operate.
Перекладу немає.
Не було перекладу?
Так.
Зараз я попрошу технічний персонал. I'm sorry, you have to repeat the question one more time because the translation issues have... Що з перекладом у нас?
Я можу пробувати українською.
Так,
Будь ласка,
це було б
буду
чудово.
вдячний.
Це було б чудово.
Як ви знаєте,
As you know, Odessa is the center of the Black Sea Grain Initiative, and I would like to know if attacks on the critical infrastructure have the impact on the port infrastructure. What is the impact of missile attacks on the Odessa critical infrastructure, including the Odessa Sea Trade Port? When it comes to the grain initiative, it is still in operation. Unfortunately, the volumes are not that big as it was the previous year. And I would like to say that 6 vessels left Odessa port, more than 150 tons of grains heading to the ports of Asia, Africa, and Europe. 21 vessels are being uploading. Around 80,000 tons will be on the way to the delivery points. The Russian side tries to sabotage the green corridor. They create artificial congestions to accumulate around 100 vessels there. The operation of Odessa seaports is adjusted according to our so-called energy front. The work has become more flexible.
I hope that translation issues were
The
corrected.
second question,
Just a second.
the second question is concerning the attack on Dnipro. I know it's outside of your area, but some media organizations have reported that the rocket used took a trajectory where it did not trigger air defenses or air raid sirens. Do you know anything about that? Was it in fact launched in a way which it kind of fooled the air defense systems? Thank you.
Так, давайте я перекладу, наскільки я зрозумів.
So the question is about the Dnipro missile attack. Perhaps you might have some information about the missile attacking the residential house.
You're speaking about the missile that hit the residential building in Dnipro. Ага, дякую. Отже, була інформація про те, що ця ракета була летіла по поліції.
There was the information about the rocket which was launched unnoticed by the air defense system of Ukraine. And it was mentioned that there was the ballistic missile. Is it true? There are 2 points, 2 important issues I'd like to focus on to answer your question. So this is out of my area of responsibility, but I'd like to say that the commander of the Mr. Bratchuk answered your question, and we, of course, trust our military. And I would also like to add that military person, we're thankful to our allies, to our partners for the weapons and air defense systems provided. But now we say that we still have some air defense system and anti-aircraft, anti-missile systems, and we would be glad if our partners will provide these to us to protect our cities. Thank you. We have one more question from our journalist. Anatoly Kosin, Media Center, Ukraine, Odessa. Serhii, you've mentioned that there are the plans to create the points of invincibility in Odessa Oblast to the whole population of Odessa region. If it is not a secret, can you tell us at what stage is the implementation of these plans and how many points of invincibility we need in the region? As for the specific numbers, I will be able to provide them later, answering to your request. Every day we have the close of business meetings, and there we discussed that every day we have new points of invincibility emerging in the city of Odessa and in the territorial communities of Odessa region. All communities in the region have points of invincibility, and they need to improve their quality, to have the proper communication, internet connection, water, food, heating, but the work is ongoing. Thank you. If there are no other questions, we will finalize our briefing for today, and our next briefing will be in 15 minutes, and we will discuss the privatization of the first Ukrainian Black Sea port. Stay tuned. Thank you.
Працювали після цього.